And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Ryan Metzler.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan Metzler here again, and today we're going to be taking a look at a tile-laying game, a pretty simple one. We're going to take a look at Tsuro. This is a game for 2 to 8 players. You're going to be placing a tile and moving your piece along the tile, maybe moving other players' pieces along the tile, in order to try and keep your piece on the board the longest. And whoever lasts the longest in the game is going to be the winner. So real quick, why don't we take a look at how this game plays and what you get inside the box, and then we'll come back here and get my final opinions on it. So here you can see the setup for Tsuro, and this is set up for a 4-player game, although the game can play up to 8. And this is a very simple game about trying to keep your piece or your marker, which looks like this. They each have a little plasticky marker with a dragon on them. You're trying to keep your piece on the board longer than anyone else, so you're trying to outlast these other 3 players. And basically at the start of the game, each player is going to choose one of these little tick marks outside the board and where do they want to place their pawn. And then they're going to get a hand of tiles. Each player will have 3 tiles. And they will have the choice of playing one of these 3 tiles from their hand. Well, they're going to have to play one, but they get to choose which one. And they're simply going to place it so that the lines on the tiles, you can see that there are crisscrossing and non-crisscrossing lines on here, line up with the marks on the outside of the board. So, for example, this player could place this tile. Maybe they place it like this, and then they're going to move their piece along the line to the end of the line. So it would move to there. And they would draw back up to 3 tiles in their hand, and the next player would go with their hand of 3 tiles, placing a tile on the board and moving their piece appropriately. So they'd place this out. Well, they wouldn't want to place this one because this is going to take them right back off the board if they were to do this. They would go in and out, and they'd be out of the game. So that would be how you lose, going off of the board. But instead of playing that one, they'd probably play one of these other tiles, and they would follow it to the end of the line. And continuing on with the next player who has their 3 tiles, places one of them right here maybe, and they move to the end. And you get the idea. You're going to keep going around in a circle, taking turns, and placing tiles. And you always have to place at the end where you end up. So, for example, my next tile for this player would have to be placed in this spot to continue his movement. This player is going to have to place here. So they would take their tiles and maybe play right here and move up. And eventually you're going to end up in situations where a player is next to another player, something like this. Let's say this was connected through like this, and somehow this player had managed to get up to here, and this player was actually over here somehow. And basically, one of these players is going to have to place here, and it will modify where both players go. So let's say the blue player places, and it's going to put him here, and it's going to send the yellow player off of the board, knocking him out of the game. That player is out permanently, they have lost, and whoever manages to stay on the longest is going to win. Now, there's one extra tile called the dragon tile, which is simply a placekeeper to keep track of when these tiles run out, because when a player runs out of the game, they're going to put all of their tiles back in. And at some point these tiles may run out. This dragon tile will go to the first person who doesn't get to draw a tile, and when more tiles are put back, the person who has this tile is the first person to draw. And you're going to keep going around until the tiles run out again, giving the dragon player to the dragon tile to the first player who can't draw. As I said, you'll go until everyone is off of the board except for one player, and that player will be the winner. And there you go. That is Tsuro, a pretty great filler for 2 to 8 players, and it's really nice that it can support all the way up to 8, but can go all the way down to 2. It plays really quickly, and it's really easy to learn. You can play it with pretty much any age group. The box says 8 and up, but I think you could probably go a little lower than that. And I think if you played it several times and kind of memorized the tiles that are in the stack, you could probably even add a little bit of a strategy aspect to this, more so than just playing your tile, but kind of planning on what's out there and what your opponents may have in their hand. Now, granted, that's still going to fall to luck of the draw, and there's plenty of that in this game, but if you're just looking for a short filler, one that you can play fast and you can play with a lot of people, definitely check out Tsuro from Calliope Games.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.